Did you know that Donkey Kong got its name because Miyamoto, the creator, thought donkey meant stupid in English? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos, and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello, and welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode number 62. Happy New Year! We're in 2021. My name's Gareth Briley. I'm going to be your host, and on my virtual left is Mr. Richard Dobson. How you doing, Richard?
Hi there. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. And on my virtual right is Mr. William Caruana. I've said it wrong again. You know, I've been practicing this all day. William, what is your surname?
Caruana. It's fine.
Why can't I do it? It's like a blank. I've been literally practicing all day. William, how are you?
I'm doing all right, you know.
Yeah, good. Now, let me explain to you, everyone. William's in Canada. Richard's in Yorkshire. Very similar places. And we are doing this over the internet. So there's some slight kind of, at the moment, the internet is a bit kind of peak time. So if one of us cuts out, we'll carry on. Don't get too, it's where we are because we're in lockdown season 3 here in the UK. Aren't we, Richard?
Lockdown with a vengeance. That's the one.
Yes. What's happening in Canada, William? Is it lockdown there? Are you? What is it? Is normal? What's happening?
It's a lockdown.
Okay.
Yeah, all but essential businesses are closed. The schools are closed. It's all lockdown here.
It's all lockdown. So here we are starting this kind of lockdown experience, and it's been a mad day. This is the 7th of January, and it's been a mad week on the news. We've gone into lockdown, but also we've had these kind of in the US, in Washington, the riot and the kind of storming of Capitol Hill, which happened last night. So there's a lot going on in the world at the moment, and it's quite quiet in the games world because it's the start of the new year. There's not much out yet, but we're gonna keep it light. We're gonna keep it light. We're gonna roll with the punches. What kind of week have you had, Richard?
Well, I'm had a time off between Christmas and New Year. Now, as of Monday, I'm back at work, but obviously still working from home. Obviously, New Year was a little bit different. So, my partner and I, we had the opportunity to join a Zoom call with all our friends, but the plan was to start at 7:30 and go on till after midnight. And I just thought, as much as I love all these guys, that isn't my idea of fun, sitting on a video call for 5 or 6 hours. So we backed out and we decided to have a crap film night instead.
Ah, what did you watch?
We started with Deep Blue Sea.
Right, good choice.
Oh, wow.
Because Laura hadn't seen it, and I was trying to explain to her that Samuel L. Jackson is one of the best deaths in films.
Yes.
So we watched that, and then we watched a film called Donkey Punch, which is it's about 10, 15 years old now, and I remember it first coming out, and obviously the title and what that insinuates, I was like, I bet this sounds like a right hoot. But it's not. It's a really, really intense, like almost a horror film, I'd say. But I've completely forgotten what it was like. So when we watched that, it was a bit too intense to maybe be watching on New Year's.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yeah. And then we finished off with a choice purely based on the title on Amazon Prime, which was called Killer Sofa. The clues in the title with that one.
What happens in Killer Sofa?
It's for like a really cheesy horror film, B-movie like horror film. There's a lot of backstory, and it was tough to keep up with at times. And basically, this sofa gets possessed by the dead soul of someone from 200 years ago or something. And this poor girl buys it from like a thrift store, and watches all her close family around her die, basically.
This sounds good. How does a sofa do the killing?
One of the deaths, the guy's trying to cook something in the oven, and this sofa sort of wheels its way behind him, and then impales him on one of its springs before chucking him out a window.
And he doesn't hear the sofa coming up behind him.
No.
Wow.
Amazing. It must have been well oiled.
Yeah. Wow, I like that.
I need to see this.
We all want to see this. This is Amazon. William, what about you? How's your week been?
It's been all right. I suppose this counts the last 2 weeks. So I celebrated the new year, with family. Well, with my immediate family. I live with them. And we had Christmas. I saw Wonder Woman 1984 with my dad on Christmas. It was passable.
Passable? Oh, okay.
But I had a good time watching with them, which is what matters. And yeah, no, it's mostly been the games that I've been playing. So
okay,
we'll do more on that.
Okay, brilliant. I have been crying in the corner. No, I have been. I got myself the Disney Plus subscription for Christmas myself. I just bought that for myself, and so that's all we've been watching over Christmas. And my partner had never seen Bernadette. She'd never seen the Star Wars films, any of them.
Really?
Yeah. So we watched we went. This is the order I did it in, and don't judge me. We did New Hope, 4, 5, and 6. Then we did the prequels 1, 2, and 3. Then we did Solo, then Rogue One, and then the last 3. The most recent ones. And so we watched 11 films over a week and a half every night. And she loves it. She's completely engrossed. She was crying by the end of the last one. I was crying to having to watch some of those films again. That made me want to cry. Some of them haven't aged well.
That's good though, because normally I feel like with anyone that's not seen Star Wars by now, if you then show it to them, they're like, I don't get what all the fuss is about.
I think from sort of like, I think for her, from Solo onwards, it was much more easier, and I think that's probably to do with the filmmaking and the kind of reality and the kind of special effects really work well together still, hold up. I think if you look at kind of prequels, but I think the prequels are aged more than the actual originals regarding special effects and the sort of design and look of it. So, it's really interesting. It's really good to watch it again. It was really good to watch Solo again, which I think is actually really, really good. And I think it deserved more praise, I think, because it was so troubled. It's a really good story and a really good look. It's dirty as well. I really like about that whole feel of it. Yeah. So that was good.
I think this problem with Solo is it came out like 5 months after Last Jedi, and that film really divided people.
Yeah.
I'm personally not a fan in the slightest of Last Jedi.
Right.
And so there was sort of this eroded trust and fatigue going into Solo, and now after Mandalorian did a lot of the same things that Solo did first, people are starting to go back to it and going, oh, this was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah.
And he's good. He's really good at it. He's really good at doing that thing. Yeah. And the other thing I'm just going to mention I'm watching on the Disney Channel. I watched a Pixar movie called Soul. Soul.
Yes.
Have you seen it, William?
No, I need to see it. It's up there with Queen's Gambit and Mank, which are ones that I just need to sit there and see finally.
Yeah, it's really great. It's great. And I haven't seen a Pixar movie for ages. And it's a really beautiful bit of visual storytelling. Really clever, stunning as you expect from the Pixar thing, and really life-affirming. So if you get a chance, watch Soul. Right, let's go now. At the last thing before we stopped for the Christmas break, we did have to do an alternative awards for the year, because our official Xbox Hub games of the year wasn't quite ready yet. So, but that went well. People seem to like that.
Yeah, I listened in. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah. But now we've got the list. So we're going to say goodbye finally to 2020. Was just a little go through our list of the Xbox Hub's games of the year 2020. So is this fair to say? This is from all the people who work on the Xbox Hub, or the reviewers. And we all get together and we put down our list of our top 10 main games, top 10 indie games. And then someone... Neil, Richard, someone puts together the final list. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So we've got...
That sounds right.
So this is a kind of like our overall vision. And it's only Xbox. So there's no PlayStation here or Switch or any PC games. It's only Xbox games that come out on the Xbox. And not exclusives. So I'm going to go down. Shall I just go down the list and then we can talk about it? Is that good? That's a good plan, isn't it? I really should have put if I was a good editor, I should put some sort of like chart music on the top of this, counting down. But I'm not. I'm lazy. So number 10 is Tetris Effect Connected. Number 9, Wasteland 3. Number 8, Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know why I'm laughing there. Number 6, Journey to the Savage Planet. Number 5, coming in at Tell Me Why. And number 4, Coffee Talk. Number 3...
You missed the number out, Gareth.
Oh no, see, I've mucked this up already. What number was Coffee Talk?
Coffee Talk was 5.
This is my audition for the Radio 1 job as well. It's gone wrong. Number 5, Coffee Talk. Number 4, Zombie Army 4, Dead War. Number 3, Yakuza Like a Dragon. Number 2, Gears Tactics coming on strong. And number 1, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Well, there we go. It was a shaky start, but I think we got there in the end. Gentlemen, what do we think? William, happy with that list? Do you think it's some good stuff in there?
I can tell you almost immediately, I reviewed both Ori and Gears Tactics, the original PC version, not the Xbox version for the Xbox Hub. I gave them both a 10. I could not agree more with our top 2 choices.
Right. Go. Richard, what about you? You wrote this one.
Pleased with the list.
Yeah.
My personal favourite, Coffee Talk, was in there, which is good to see. And then obviously Yakuza. Only briefly played Gears Tactics, but I really, really wanted to play a bit more of it because of what I did play, I've really enjoyed. But it just shows that, because when I was compiling this list, I was surprised by how many of them have launched straight into Game Pass. I think 5 of the list were straight into Game Pass on release. And obviously the top 2 were Xbox-owned franchises as well. So yeah. I think it's shaping up nicely for 2021 for Microsoft anyway.
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to say one word. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, not on the list. That's all I'm saying. Silence from you two.
Honestly, I think the biggest issue with Assassin's Creed is it came out. I haven't played it yet.
No, that's the reason.
So busy between Cyberpunk and the console launches, Miles Morales.
I think it's exactly that. None of the reviewers I think have played it yet, apart from me who reviewed it. I think it's not started. Good though.
Sorry, and I said the same for Immortals, Phoenix Rising as well, which came out the week before Cyberpunk, and since I've been playing that so much, that's definitely in my top 5 games of last year. But I've just not had a chance to include it in the list originally.
Should we do the indie list? The indie game of the year. See if I can get this right. Oh, this one's got numbers on it this time. Thank you. Right. Good. Coming in at number 10 is Superliminal. I can never say that. Number 9, Fogs, which is the kind of like co-op dog control thing. Number 8, Nexamon Extinction. Number 7, Crosscode. Number 6, Spiritfarer. Number 5, Kentucky Route Zero. Number 4, Golf with Your Friends. Number 3, back again, Coffee Talk. Number 2, Hot Shot Racing. How did that get in there? Number 1, Zombie Army 4, Dead War. Richard, what do you think there? I think, yeah,
It's a very varied list.
it is, isn't it?
I think it's the problem with indie games is well, it's any game of the year list is basically who's played it more, how many people have played it. So I think that's why the likes of Golf with Your Friends is so high up, because we've all played it collectively.
Yeah, and it's a great, fun game to play. Yeah, it's a great.
Yeah.
William, what about you? What's missing from there for you? Anything?
Sinker.
Sinker. Yeah.
Yes.
You could have a.
Oh, sorry.
Say that again, William. Sorry.
Yeah, Sinker. It should have been up there. That said, Golf with Your Friends, Hot Shot Racing, I can't disagree with either of those. I love those. It's showing me there's a lot I need to play. I've never touched the Zombie Army game. Clearly, I need to start touching one.
Yeah.
That came out wrong.
That's what got us in trouble in the first time with those zombies. Touching them. Don't touch them. Kentucky Route Zero is in there, which is a good one. I love that game. Mosaic could have been in there for me. That's a great game that came out in January. But like you said, it's the same problem. We all review these with none of us generally. Spiritfarers in there, which is great. It's an amazing kind of indie game. The Last Campfire is another shout there for people who haven't got it. We talked about these last week. I don't know why I'm doing it before Christmas. But that's good. It's a good shout. So that's it. That's done. That's 2020 finished, thrown in the corner. We don't want to talk about it again, do we? No.
Nope. By 2020.
Bye 2020. But now it's 2021. So what have we been playing in this new year? What new games have we been starting our year with? Richard, what have we been starting with?
Well, I mentioned it before. I'm still ploughing through Immortals. Having an absolute blast with that. I think I'm about 3/4 of the way through it now. And rumours are that in 2 weeks' time, the first DLC is coming out for that as well. So I should have it finished just in time for that, and I can just keep playing more and more of it, because I really, really don't want to put that down for the time being.
I've heard they're really doing some really strange stuff with the DLC, really playing with how the game is, the actual physics of the game and stuff.
Yeah, so there's 3 DLC packs coming out. One's an extension. I think the first one coming out is an extension of the main story. And then the other 2, one's sort of a similar setup, but set in Chinese mythology instead of Greek mythology, with a different character and a new world to explore. And then the third one, I think it's a new hero again, but it's sort of doing the top-down setting and sort of changing it up into a dungeon crawler sort of thing.
I like that.
Yeah, something a bit different, because, I mean, with every Ubisoft game, you are going to get a gold edition and an ultimate edition. But it tends to be just more of the same stuff from the main game. Some would argue cut content a lot of the time, but these DLC packs feel like actual editions, so I'm interested to see what they do with them.
Yeah, that sounds good. So you're really enjoying it. So I bought it over Christmas, but I haven't played it because I'm still doing the big games, finishing all the big games off that I was.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a long list of stuff I want to play this year, but at the moment, that's the only one I'm interested in.
Okay. I've done so many open world games in the last 2 months. I'm like, it's hard. It's a commitment, isn't it?
It's not a massive one, though, thankfully.
That's good. What have you been playing, Willie?
So I started and finished up Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh,
I got this for Christmas, and I was completely engrossed in it from start to finish.
Right.
Once I got used to the camera and how it works, it was absolutely brilliant. I think they nailed the combat, they nailed the exploration, they nailed the visuals. I think this is one of the finest games Sony's first party has ever made, and I loved it. I loved it.
It's been a really interesting one, isn't it, with Ghost? Because I got Ghost in August when it came out, and it's the critics haven't been fantastic. It hasn't been critically acclaimed, but the people who've bought it and the fans of it, everyone seems to have loved it. Is that fair to say? I mean, it
Yeah,
won.
that's right. It got like an 82 on Metacritic. So when I was just looking at the Game Award nominations, I'm like, what's this doing up here? You know, why is this up here over Ori, over Dreams, over Crusader Kings, Flight Sim, whatever? Then I played it and I went, okay, I still want to see Ori nominated, but I get why this is up here.
Yeah,
It's just brilliant.
and like we said, it's a lovely looking game, isn't it? I mean, it's certain the environments are amazing and the lighting.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's running 60 frames per second on the PS5, which is just the icing on the cake. It's so smooth. It looks great. It runs great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, I'm glad you played that. You should play it, Richard. You still play it on the PS4?
Yes, can do. Pick it up.
You're not going to do it, are you? I know you're not going to do it.
Done that back to back. Done that one.
I've been playing. Let's talk about the main game first, and we'll go to one of the indie games the first of the year. I've been playing a game. I've finished Miles Morales, which isn't a great feat because it's only about 7 hours long, isn't it?
I beat it in 4.5. I was rushing.
There we go.
That one.
I've sort of been doing it over a little period, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's the same as before, but I love the storytelling. I love the environments again.
Yeah.
It's I like there's a great thing in it when you've got an app by your friend, and that's how you pick up side missions. But going through the app. Sorry, William, say it again.
Yeah, I loved how they did the app instead of just side missions distracting you while you're exploring the world like they did in the first. I thought that was very well done.
Yeah, it's really nice. If you've got a PS5, it's really worth getting. It's a great addition to the kind of like Spider-Man family, and it's a completely new story and with a really well told story and really interesting, and it's just great just flying around that city at Christmas, and playing it over Christmas was fantastic. You felt very Christmassy, just going around in snow-filled New York and seeing the little lights. There's little moments you kind of walk around the kind of markets, or you do, and I just really like just exploring that kind of world. Yeah, it's good. Finished that, thank God. What about you, Richard? What else you been playing?
I have been reviewing PBA Bowling 21. I think
Nice.
Which is a 10-pin bowling game.
Right. Good.
I feel like bowling has always been resigned to mini games in bigger games. Yeah. And I feel like after playing this, I can understand why that is. It's just, there's obviously, you could argue the same with any sports game, innit? Like, it's just the same thing over and over again. But this feels really, I think they could have done a lot more with it. Right. So you play into a main career mode. And at the moment, I don't know whether this changes as you get further along, because I've not played enough of it to know for definite. But when you start off, you're playing in like local leagues. But it's only ever you. You're not facing like a competitor or anything. It's just you doing your 10 frames and then seeing where you stack up against other competitors. And I feel like it misses that competitive element then, because you could be anywhere and you're not against anyone. I mean, there's a crowd there, but they're cheering you on, but you're not against anyone, and I miss that aspect of it.
Okay, so how does it work then? You just play your kind of like your frames.
Yeah, there's two setups. You can have simulation or arcade setup. Simulation, obviously, you can affect the curve of the ball once it's left your hand, but in arcade mode you can do all that. And then for some reason, despite it being this officially licensed bowling game, in arcade mode there's 3 different balls. There's like a bomb ball that you can just throw and it'll guarantee a strike and stuff like that. And you can use them pretty often as well.
Right.
Negates any real competitive element to it. And it's also got microtransactions. I'm really struggling to understand why it has, because
Microtransactions and PBA Bowling 21.
yeah, and they go up to about
insane.
£80.
Wow. What do you buy?
Would I buy this game?
No, what would you buy? What do you buy with the microtransactions?
You can buy anything that you can unlock in the game. So I assume it's based on there's real world pros in this game. So if you were a fan of bowling, I assume you might want to unlock your favorite pro quicker. So you could buy a microtransaction for some gold pins to then buy a player.
Can you get any of the big Lebowski players in there, like Jesus?
Missing that and Kingpin as well. None of those people are in it.
Oh, damn.
Kingpin, love Kingpin.
Oh.
Yeah, so missing a bit of a trick there.
So five stars?
I need to play it more to see if there is an actual 1v1 element to it. Otherwise, I'm really going to struggle to give it a positive review.
Right, okay.
It's a good all of a game, eh?
William, what else have you been playing?
So I have also been playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I got this on a pretty wicked sale at one of the local stores. You know, they have curbside there. And it's good. I think the combat's interesting. It's sort of halfway between turn-based and action. I think the best comparison would be something like Knights of the Old Republic, but a bit faster. I really enjoy the characters and story of this. The pacing and the padding and the needless side quests, not so much, but I'm having a pretty decent time with it.
Oh, good.
And as well, I think it's important to say I'm not huge on JRPGs, with the exception of Rune Factory and Fire Emblem, if you count that, and Shin Megami Tensei. So automatically there was a pretty big hurdle for this one to overcome, and it has mostly overcome it. So, yeah. No, I think if you like the original, you'll really like this.
Yeah. Good. The final game I've been playing, it is out, I think it's out next week, it's an indie game called Down in Bermuda. And Down in Bermuda is by a development company. I reviewed a game called Agent A last year, which was a kind of like spy, sort of 60s spy game, but it was basically a puzzler. And you basically get a screen and you're looking at the screen and you're solving out like a point and click, solving out the puzzles by touching buttons on the screen or opening kind of secret compartments. And this game is set on a deserted island, and you're this old man who's crashed there, and you're trying to escape. And basically, it's quite kiddie. You're presented with a kind of map, and then you can scroll around the map and you can touch on things, and you have to get like 5 orbs then to get off the island onto another island. But what you're doing is you might press on a bit of the ground and a machine suddenly appears. Then you can press a button on that machine and twist it around, and then it turns into something else that you can then. It might turn into like a pipe puzzle for you to solve. So the game, I think, first came out for the touchscreen, so it's like a mobile phone or an iPad or a tablet game, and it's been ported to the Xbox after the success of Agent A, and you can really tell it'd be perfect, absolutely perfect on the iPad or the screen. But and it works here. It took me a while to get how to work the camera without just scrolling across and getting to where you want. It's all there, and I really enjoy it. The puzzles are great, but would I prefer to play it on the iPad? Probably. So there you go. Down Bermuda, but it's good. It's good. Nice little first. Got some nice little indie game to start with. Right, let's go on to news. Let's move on. Now there isn't much news at the moment. We're just sort of like beginning the year. There's one thing that I was interested in. The first delay of the gaming world has come out. Outriders being delayed to April. And this was coming out in February, I think the first week of Feb, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was a delay from back end of last year, I think, as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah, holiday.
Wow. Okay. I think...
I will... Sorry.
Go on, William, what are you going to say?
I will say this. I have tested out Outriders. I am under a strict non-disclosure agreement, but I have tested out Outriders. The delay to April means it's just in time for my birthday, so I'm very happy about that. And do not read anything into that at all.
Okay. I didn't really know anything about this game at all until I was starting to look through what for the year. And it's by... Sorry, Richard, what did you say?
Sorry, no, I was going to ask that question. Is it by People Can Fly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's our first day, but I think we're probably going to be having many delays over the year, probably with COVID still. We're going to see.
Oh yeah, and Cyberpunk as well has basically shown that investors are starting to realize it's better to delay a game than to rush it out. So People Can Fly just publicly listed on the Warsaw stock market for the first time ever. And so they've got a lot riding on this game, so I think they really want it to be perfect out of the gate.
Yeah. Another thing that caught my eye was looking at this Xbox survey asking players of the Series X and the Series S about if they want some of the stuff that the PS5 DualSense controller, if they want that in the Series X. Did you see this, you two, Richard?
Yeah, and I didn't get the survey, but my answer would be yes, 100%.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting that they're looking at it going, okay, let's see if we can do this as well.
Yeah, because I think I read somewhere was for the launch of the Xbox One, Microsoft looked at numerous ways to innovate the controller, and including a sense of smell coming from it.
Okay.
Yeah, and ultimately nothing worked. So they went quite plain with it, and it's the same with the Series X one, with the exception of a new button. But all I'm hearing is good stuff about the triggers on the PS5 controller and the haptic feedback. So
yeah,
and also the touchscreen. I think the touchscreen on the PlayStation controller makes typing, for example, so much easier.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, the controller's great. It's very comfy as well. But the battery goes really quickly. I'm always charging it. Yeah. And I've got one of those leads that's not long enough to my sofa, so I need to get a new lead.
Move the sofa.
I can't be that close to the TV, you mad? William, what were you going to say, sorry, about this?
Oh, I think the jury is still out on DualSense. I think it's a fantastic controller. I love the features and how they were implemented in Astro. Now, whether they continue to be supported or if support falls off a cliff is another matter. So if I were Xbox, I would wait a couple of years. But, this isn't unprecedented. In the PS3 era, there was the 6-axis controller that launched with the system, and people did not take to that at all. And so what they did was they released the DualShock 3 with Rumble, and they made Rumble pretty standard across the system. So it could be a similar situation where the Series X controller is a great controller. It's also virtually identical to the Xbox One controller. So it could be a situation of people are sitting back on, this is boring. And thus they release a new model that will start to ship with the newer models of the Series X and Series S, and will be sort of the default controller going forward. So I could see that happen.
Yeah. Another bit of news, we saw the Wasteland developers in Exile appeared to be making strangely enough, another FPS RPG. We had Wasteland 3 as one of our top 10 games of 2020.
Yes.
Who's a big Wasteland fan here? And In the Exile fan? Anyone here?
I am not a huge Wasteland fan, but I am a fan of In Exile. In particular, their work on the Bird's Tale ARPG I thought was just brilliant. And so with this one, this is their first AAA game since Hunted the Demon's Forge all the way back in the day. And they are going massive for this. So they make now this article is a bit deceptive. They aren't just making an FPS RPG, they're also making an action RPG. So the action of the game is being done by the combat designer of the God of War reboot.
Oh, wow.
And they're hiring for someone to handle the first-person shooting mechanics as well. They're going massive. From what I'm hearing on the forums, we said they were killer.
That's exciting. Yeah.
We look at the 2024 release for this. It's going to be steampunk, based off what the directors and art designers seem to be putting a lot of research and time into. And supposedly this has one of the biggest budgets for an Xbox game ever. Because In Exile, it's a great studio, Brian Fargo, tons of talent from Black Isle, but it never really grew to the level that Obsidian did, and so they are investing a ton to make this the next Obsidian, investing a ton to make Obsidian the next Bethesda, and I guess investing in Bethesda now to make them the next Rockstar. It's just massive. If you look at where the RPGs or the Western RPG capabilities and first-person shooting capabilities of Xbox are going, and I think Phil Spencer said this, it's nuts. Like, Xbox will be to the Western RPG and the first-person shooter what PlayStation is to the third-person action-adventure game. It's going to be crazy.
And when did you say, William? 2024?
That is what I've been hearing on the forums. Okay. Now, this person is verified by the forums, but for all we know, they could just be trolling us. But 2024 is what I'm hearing.
We might get our vaccinations by then. So that would be good.
Hope it's not delayed.
Yeah. Richard, you got a bit of news you found that's quite current. Talk us through this.
A little thing I saw about everything going on at Capitol Hill yesterday. The guy that inspired the PogChamp emote on Twitch.
What's that?
That is better than I will.
Right.
Well, obviously in Twitch chat, people can put emotes, and I believe this is one of the most widely used emotes in Twitch. But the guy that is behind it was inciting further unrest, civil unrest in the Capitol Hill today after what had happened yesterday. So as a result, Twitch quickly removed that emote, which I was surprised at the speed that they'd done that, because from hearing on other stuff, Twitch are historically pretty slow on updating that kind of stuff and removing controversial images and videos. But yeah, they removed that almost instantly after that tweet was out. I think they've said that I'm getting into unknown territory here now, talking about what words are used on Twitch, but Pog, they want the sentiment of Pog to live on, but they're not using that emote anymore.
Right.
Has anyone ever mentioned it in chat to you whilst you're streaming?
No. Normally the people just say, get off. What are you doing? Why are you wasting my time? They always spell that out. No. Wow. That's interesting. Right, good. Let's move into more hopeful territory. We're gonna have three. We're gonna talk about 2021. We're gonna have three games that we're looking forward to, and there's quite a bit coming out. I mean, we don't know dates yet properly. We know dates up to maybe March, and that's only some of the bigger games. But there'll be indie games kind of fitting into that. But after that, it gets a bit more blurry. But let's have one each, first of all, of, what do we think we're looking forward to in 2021? William, what's your first one?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I was looking forward to this in 2020. Now I'm looking forward to it in 2021. It's time to see Halo Infinite. That first showing wasn't great in terms of visuals, but in terms of gameplay, that showed me everything I want to see in a Halo game. And they've got Joe Staten on board. They've gone an extra year for a game which is supposedly content complete, just to polish it and make it as good as possible. I think it's time for Halo. I miss Halo. I want Halo.
And when do you think it will come out?
I am suspecting November 16th, because November 15th, which is a Monday, is the 20th anniversary of Halo. So I think they're going to do a very late launch on Game Pass that night and a retail release on the day after. Because most games are released on Tuesday or Thursday these days. So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
November 16th. Hold me to it. Lock it in here.
We're going to lock it, definitely. I'm going to hold you in there, because I normally get everything wrong, so thank God it's not me. Can I ask you this, and we've talked about this before. One of the big problems with Cyberpunk was, on its release, it just didn't work on the PS4 or the Xbox One and Xbox One X. The rumours were that Halo had the same problem. Halo and Infinite, one it didn't release. It didn't work on those. It didn't work on the old Xboxes well enough. And do you think next November will they go back on it and just release it on the Series X, or would there be a version? Would it be an identical version on the Xbox One?
It will not be identical. Just saying this right here. I fully suspect if it's coming out on Xbox One, it's going to have some problems. It's probably going to run at 720p, 30 frames per second, but it's going to be playable. I think if they release it, it will be good enough. Like Miles Morales on PS4 is good enough. It's not great, but it's good enough. So I think they will not launch it in the condition that Cyberpunk was launched in. That was unacceptable. We were talking at points single-digit frame rates. So I do not see that happening. I think worst case scenario, they do it natively that you can stream the game over xCloud, the way that on the Switch right now you can get Control and Hitman 3 coming up played over cloud. I don't see them going back on their promise. That said, they have gone back on their promises for Everwild and Flight Sim, which I think is totally reasonable.
Yeah.
Everwild has been delayed a bit. They need more time. So by the time that one's coming out, the Xbox One's going to be old news. And Flight Sim, my mid-range PC struggles to run that. And my mid-range PC with an RTX 2060 Max Q and a Ryzen processor. I cannot imagine what that thing runs like on Xbox One.
Yeah.
It's going to be a nightmare. A nightmare. So, right call there, 100%.
It would just be you and customs, just in duty-free shopping.
Yeah. It'll just be a port of Microsoft Flight Simulator X from 2005. Yeah, they'll just put the new...
Yeah,
the new way.
Or just at the passport control, just don't let you go through.
Yeah.
Good. That's a good one. I think I'm looking forward to Halo. I mean, it'd be great to have Halo back then. Richard, what have you got?
I will take then God of War 2 or God of War Ragnarok, which I heard today might be cross-gen. Staying on the subject of cross-gen, rumours are circulating that God of War Ragnarok is going to be playable on PS4 and PS5.
Yeah,
which we'll see. But I think if that is the case, it'll suffer the same fate as what you've just been describing. So the last one was 2018. The reboot of God of War, which took it from Greek.
Yeah.
Yeah, took it from the Greek mythology and put Kratos into Norse mythology. But yeah, what a game that was!
What a game, yeah. Yeah.
Just as you mentioned before, with the combat and the exploration was just, it really, really sucked me in. Did that game, and I must have binged it in a week or two. I've still not got the platinum on it yet, but I keep meaning to go back to that.
I'm thinking about doing it again because I can get it on the PS5 for free again. So I'm thinking I'll do it again.
I need to play it. I just downloaded it on the PS5. I think the thing for me is I never really got into the original God of War games, but I've heard this one is very, very different.
Yeah.
You know, less quick time events, more of a Ninja Theory type hack and slash.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you'll love it. You're going to have a great time with it.
Yeah, I never played the original ones either, and I absolutely love this 2018 one.
Yeah. Oh, good shout. So we is it definitely coming out next year? At the moment, we think it's coming out next year. This year, I mean.
Say when they showed the thing was saying Ragnarok is coming, did say 2021, but
yeah,
that's the plan.
I mean, no one's seen anything about it, but no screenshots or anything. But yeah,
it was just a 5-second black screen, and then Ragnarok is coming.
Yeah. Okay, good. It's me, isn't it? Let me do. Which one should I do? Oh, I've got the same one as you. Oh, well, I'm going to do this one first because it's very soon. The Medium, which is out this month on the Xbox Series X and PC. And it's by the studio that brought us Layers of Fear and Blair Witch. Did they do Blair Witch? Say that again. Observer? Yeah.
Yeah, Observer.
And Redux now. And there's a kind of final preview trailer there. I love the Layers of Fear games. I'm a big fan of those, and I really like that studio. And I'm really looking forward to this, to see a game that is just purely for the Xbox Series X as well. And it's on Game Pass. So if you've got Game Pass, you'll get it for free. And I think it's January the 20th, around that time.
No, I think that's when Hitman comes out. I think it's the 27th.
27th.
Okay.
Yeah,
something like that. Let me pull it up.
It looks good. You're excited about this, aren't you, William? As well.
Oh, yes. 28th. Yeah,
20.
I am so excited for this one. I think, this is our first real massive Series X only exclusive. I think the gimmick looks great. The developers are stupidly talented. But I think for them, they are on the cusp of greatness. I think they make fantastic games, but they've never had a true breakout hit. And I think this will be that game. I think it looks so unique, so different, and yet so familiar. It's drawing off of older Silent Hill and Resident Evil, but it's doing it in a new and fresh way. And I just cannot wait to play this game.
Well, we'll find out very soon. Good.
Yeah.
Who's next? Let's go to Richard now. Richard, you can do your second one, and we'll go to William after.
I won't take. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry. Yeah, my second one is a game called Eastward, which hasn't been confirmed as coming out this year, but hopefully it is this year because it's been kicking around for a few years now. So this is coming to Steam and Nintendo Switch. And for anyone that's played Crosscode, that came out on the Xbox last year, had been on PC a few years, I think, and Orange Blood. It's the sort of similar look and feel to it, I believe. Really pixel art style, top-down perspective, reminiscent of older JRPGs from the early 90s. But every time I watch the trailer, it just blows me away how pretty it looks, because the pixel art is some of the best that I've seen. And I don't know whether it's a full RPG or more of an action RPG. They've not really gone into that much detail, but it's one of the main reasons I bought a Switch. when I first saw this. I was like, I'm not going to be able to play it on Steam, so I'll get a Switch.
Mm.
It was about 2 years ago that I first saw it, and I think it's been around for longer than that. But yeah, I'm hoping that this comes out this year. Rumors are pointing towards it finally coming out, and I'm just really looking forward to playing that.
Good. Great. William, what's your next one?
My next one is Horizon Forbidden West. I played the first Horizon game, Horizon Zero Dawn, last year on my PS5, and I was just blown away by how good it was. I thought it was... Aloy is a fantastic character. I thought the combat was great, the world was good, the story was fantastic. Same writer as Fallout New Vegas, and he wrote this one as well. That said, I also felt similarly towards it that I did towards Uncharted 1. I think all the bones are here for a 10 out of 10 fantastic Game of the Year sweeping game. And I think Forbidden West can be to the first Horizon what Among Thieves was to Drake's Fortune. I think if they go deeper into the role-playing elements, if they give more choice and consequence, more skill checks, more a deeper skill system, and combine it with their already fantastic world design, combat, story, and characters, this could be just phenomenal. And the first one was such a step out of the comfort zone for Guerrilla, because they were the Killzone developers. They were making first-person shooters. So I think now that they're sort of in the flow of it, they've got one under their belt. Forbidden West could take us all by surprise. It should be fantastic.
Yeah, it does look really exciting, and I think that's on PS4 and PS5 as well, isn't it? I think it's
this cross-gen.
Yeah, it does. It's. I really like the first one, and I'm really excited. My next one is going to be... I'm going to go for 12 minutes. Because I have an indie game in there. And 12 minutes is coming out on Game Pass. I think it would definitely be this year. I think it might be even sooner than we think it's going to be. And it's a game that we've seen a lot more it's a top-down version of a room in an apartment, and you're replaying the first 12 minutes. We talked about it before on the podcast. It was voiced by some actors that were doing a fine job, but they've got big stars doing the voiceovers now. William Dafoe, I think it's two others, I can't remember. But it does look really interesting, and I've always liked the look of it, so I think I'm going to go for that for my second one. What's your last one, Richard?
My last one comes out next week, I believe, Hitman 3. But I think I'm going to take the new Hitman series as a whole, because I'm going to be getting it on the PS4 simply because then I can play all three in VR, which I just think's going to be something really special. I played the original Hitman, well, not the original Hitman, this rebooted Hitman on the Xbox One, and I thought the worlds they created were amazing. That Paris level is perhaps one of my most enjoyable levels in all of gaming. So the fact that I'm getting to explore these worlds now in VR, I think it's going to be unusual, because you're playing obviously as a hitman, which I'm not in real life, obviously.
Have you seen the trailer for it today, Richard? For the VR?
A new trailer today?
Yeah.
No.
Have a look at that trailer first, and have a think. That's what I'm saying. Everyone, have a look at the trailer. Have a think. I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It doesn't look the same, of course, because
No.
it hasn't got the same thing, and it could be quite funny. Looks a bit. The arms look a bit weird, but
I'm not even sure I want to necessarily be a hitman. I just want to walk around these worlds.
Well, I think you can do that. I just imagine you just being in a cupboard for 4 hours waiting for someone to come into a room.
Yeah.
In the darkness, just a little slot looking through, or just waiting.
It's like to undress and dress myself as well. That'd be weird.
4 hours. You're trying to get the buttons ready. Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun.
Yes.
And unusual.
I think.
Yeah.
Good. William, what's your last one?
I can't wait for Hitman. It's going to be so good. But another game I can't wait for, Psychonauts 2. I think it's going to be fantastic. Tim Schafer is one of the most creative minds out there. And the first Psychonauts is a genuine masterpiece. 10 out of 10, perfect game, except for Meat Circus. I hate Meat Circus, that final level. But other than that, I love the original game. And this looks every bit as good. And what excites me as well is they've delayed it an extra year and have gone a significant investment from Microsoft to do this right. They crowdfunded it. They had Starbreeze on board, I believe. And Tim Schafer is on the record going out there saying, I really wanted to make this game, but I had to cut a bunch of things. I had to cut boss fights. I had to cut levels. I had to cut cutscenes. And all of these are being added back into the game. So I think it's going to be worth the wait. I cannot wait for that one. And Game Pass Day 1. So,
yeah, absolutely. Great. My last one's going to be a game that might not come out next year, might not come out for 2 years, but I'm hoping. And it's Starfield, which is the Bethesda game, which I think is going to come out before Elder Scrolls. And I'm just, from what I'm hearing about, I don't know much about it. I'm sold straight away. It's going to be on Game Pass because of the buyout. It's going to
be exclusive.
Yeah, and I think that could be something that could be announced in May, and then we could get it for the autumn. But that's all I'm going to say. I'm just hoping. And to think about us hoping about what for 2021, what would you like to see being announced? A wish list. You just one each, I think. Richard, what would your dream announcement?
My dream announcement would be to know that the sequel to the Final Fantasy VII Remake isn't too far away. Because there was a long period between that first getting announced and it actually releasing last year. And I think you're going to lose all momentum having to wait that long again. So
yeah,
some play, maybe not next year, but early 2022, I think would be good to know that it's not going to be as long a wait as before.
Yeah, good shout. William?
Yeah. It's time to see what Compulsion is doing. They are a wild card studio for Microsoft. We know what Playground's doing now with Fable. We know what Obsidian's doing with Avowed. In Exile just released Wasteland, and we talked about their new game. Initiative's doing Perfect Dark. Compulsion, like Bloober Team, is one of those teams that is on the cusp of greatness. We Happy Few has a ton of great ideas and mechanics, as well as some jank and a bunch of technical issues, which I think it was just a case where their scope exceeded their budget and time.
The DLC for We Happy Few is better than the main game. All 3 DLC packages are brilliant. Yeah.
And the DLC was funded by Microsoft, which I think says it right there. They now have the money, they now have the resources, they now have the time. And I think it's time to see what they're doing. We know it's a third-person game. We know it's taking influence from BioShock and Uncharted, but that's all we know. And now it's time to see what that looks like. And I think with the creativity is there. I think they are tied with Double Fine and Arcane for the most creative studios Microsoft owns. Now it's time to see that put into motion, and I cannot wait to see what they do.
Great. Good. I'm going to have one thing. I'm going to say the words GTA 6 announced. That would be very good. That's all I'm going to say.
So it's right there.
Yeah. What are we looking forward to next week? Richard, what are you looking forward to doing?
I've said Hitman. Playing that in VR, but also One Division. I think it's coming out at the right time for us.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that's interesting. William?
I have to start classes next week, so I'll be a bit busier again. But I'm hoping to start The Last of Us Part 2. The goal right now is to beat Final Fantasy VII before I get back to class. And then The Last of Us is the sort of easygoing isn't the right word. It's definitely not an easygoing game, but it's something that you can break up pretty easily into chapters and can do over the period of a couple weeks, so I think it's time to start that one.
Great.
And then Hitman 3, that's coming on the 20th. I cannot wait for that.
Good.
Yeah.
I might go to this Scott Pilgrim game that everyone's been going about. Edgar, I think, loved it. That's coming out next week, I think, unless I'm dreaming that. But that's it. That's it. Now, Richard, thank you so much. Richard had to come in last minute because James' microphones died on him, and he came in the last minute, 5 minutes before we started recording. So thank you, Richard, very much.
Thank you for the invite.
Where can we find you if we want to talk to you?
On Twitter at Dobber1912.
And William, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at DRVidGame, and you can find me posted on the TheXboxHub, of course.
Yeah. And you can find me at GB Briley on Twitter and Twitch. But for now, gentlemen, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week on the 14th. Happy New Year! Bye-bye!
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You'll be able to find all the notes of this show at www.TheXboxHub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub, and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.